Always that awkward time in a live stream when somebody watches the recording, as I've said before, and you're waiting for the live stream to kind of go out to where they're going, which today and all these Wednesday lives have been LinkedIn and YouTube. So we wait. We wait and see while listening to the smooth sounds from AidenTaylorMusic.com. What is the word? Vibe? I don't know. I don't know what the word is. It's too cool for me. Hey, Jeremy. Welcome. Welcome today. A little fun fact about Aiden Taylor Music. It's his birthday. So, hey, happy birthday, Aiden, who also happens to be our oldest. Our wonderful stepson, and he's 24. If you want to make his day, say, hey, check out his site. He's around for all of your music and recording needs. Trailer music, stingers, podcast intros, albums, whatever it is, whatever you need. I'm sure he would love a little hello. It's Aiden right there on LinkedIn. Go say hey. Although now he has a shaved head and the makings of a decent beard already. So hop on in. Tell him hey. And this is called Sweet Pea. It's one of his tunes. What's up, Todd from SHI? Love me some SHI. Good to see you on here. And today we're going to be talking about email. The grandparent of marketing when it comes to digital marketing and where we want to go with it and how it's going to work. And there is our Nepal correspondent, Abhishek. Good to see you. Your Jackass Whisperer socks are en route. So let me know when you get them. This is the best mug to drink out of, because it says I'm not the Jackass Whisperer. This makes me happy. We'll do one of these lives eventually. We'll talk about promo products, but this is a mug we had made. It says on podcast on the one side, which is the business show for the fed up, and I'm not the Jackass Whisperer. All right, and I'm going to show you this too. Hello to a LinkedIn user, Bor da brother, and then it's clarified. It's Welsh for good day. Well, Bor da to you, and I believe it's Thai, but I believe you have to let your LinkedIn or something allow to use your name or however it's working. Mark says, I'm excited for this chat. I've been in email marketing for 12 plus years. Oh, swell. Great. It's like teaching a class and then somebody comes in and says, I read the book, and you're like, that's more than I've done. So Mark, maybe help me out if I'm wrong with some of these things. And Andrew Moon, hashtag book the bun. Love this. And thank you. And good to see you, Andrew. And thank you for the thank you package we just received yesterday. I was on Andrew's awesome LinkedIn live show himself. And he sent us a bunch of swag and some mugs and some really comfortable shirts and a really nice note. So thank you, Andrew, for that. Jason to YouTube says, happy Wednesday, friends. Good to see you, Jason. So usually I kind of cross-stream this to LinkedIn and YouTube. YouTube kind of for the archive and stuff. I've never really platformed on YouTube, which is the term we use for building your community in each kind of platform and area. And so it's always nice to have some people from YouTube come on over, sir. Jason. Oh, we're going back now. Good to see you, Jason. An OG from the day of digital. So yeah, we're going to talk about email today when I'm not answering comments or questions. And if you do have questions, so please jump in with comments. That's the whole point of live. I do these lives every week right now to work out this material for the Marketing Academy that we're working on right now to build it out. And the best way for my brain and learning is to talk it out. to work it out. And one of the things I did with LinkedIn doing these lives is I've set a date for each Wednesday. And if I have to be flexible with that, of course it will be, but we're trying for Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, because it gives me a deadline to work on each topic. So last week we finished up, we were talking about influencers and smart sponsorships and partnerships. And on the live, I said, why don't we talk about email next week? And that's what we did. So this one is working on email, but I mentioned in the description that I didn't do as many slides or preparation for this. And what's up, Daniel? Good to see you. Love the content. LinkedIn alerts every time you go live. Seems a little if you will, but that's probably something with my LinkedIn settings. Well, yeah, one of the things about Daniel, about unmarketing is it's not anti-marketing. Like I'm unmarketing right now. I am putting myself in front of my audience, my market. So when they have the need for whatever I offer, they may choose me. So it's not about anti-marketing. It's LinkedIn is also pushing their algorithm to really promote live videos. So there's nothing I can do about it on my end, and it's not really on your end. You can turn off the setting, but it's just default, and it's kind of the way it goes. Hey, Leah, good to see you. Saying to Andrew, best hashtag ever, which is my book, The Bun. Yes. Abhishek, a marketing academy sounds really cool. I'd love to know more about that. Oh, you got it. We're working on it. And Ty, why am I all anonymous on this chat? You're the only one anonymous right now. Sometimes, Ty, it's just better that way. Ty Francis, I believe he's the Grand Poobah of Wales, and one of our favorite humans on the planet. And you know, his company is about ethics and governance, and that's what we love to talk about, but not on that level. You know, they're also very fancy with this stuff. It's like, you know, they go through approvals and editing and regulations, and so on with the show. And let's talk about email and why I want to talk about email marketing today. I've been doing email marketing and looking at conversions and things like that since the late 90s. And I've kind of come in and out of it at different times, but the principles usually hold true. So a lot of what we're talking about today and what we talk about on marketing is kind of the principles of things and showing you where we stand on certain things, because really the big picture of all this is that you're being authentic and you're having integrity and community. And you can do that throughout marketing. You can do that throughout all of your marketing, especially once you figure out what your company is actually about, what your service, and I don't mean what you're selling or what you're offering to people. I mean, what do you stand for? And that's why we have the authenticity, integrity, and community under ours, and that's why we rebranded things to follow under that, because those are our beacons, those are our pillars. And if they resonate with you, awesome. And if they don't, then it's not going to work for you. And that's the part of kind of culling the herd of people out there, where if you don't like it, okay. I know there's people who don't like the way we do things. I know there's people who, again, there are just like, it's just like every no leads to a possible yes, and snapping necks and cashing checks. And again, all hoping to get to the Catalina wine mixer. Shout out to Step Brothers. But the way that we look at things is that we look at the community, not customers. And when you serve each other in a community, when you show your true self, your authentic self, and your skill set and your abilities, that it's a natural thing. That when you are connected and giving back and forth and using your social currency back and forth, that there's a logical thing saying, I trust this person, I know them, and I like them. And the problem is there's this disconnect. Like when know, like, and trust isn't our terms about business. It's ages old. It's old as business advice is. People do business with they know, like, and trust. Even people who do the, you know, boiler room level type of stuff and just like, it's just numbers and all they want is money. They know that some way. But I'm like, well, how do you think we do that? Well, we build relationships. Well, then the problem is they take the relationship and it just starts spamming LinkedIn connections and things like that. So let's look at the email side of stuff and where we can kind of go with this. And then again, ask any questions you want and let's go from there. We always need a title slide, don't we? So I talked last week and every week so far about the issues with funnel vision and your sales funnel, on how a lot of decisions are made outside of coming towards your funnel. It's in the sales cloud. It's 60% of especially B2B purchases. 60% of the buying decision is already kind of done before even going towards and raising their hand with your company. But we're trying to get people into this type of funnel. So this is the type of thing we were talking about in the past few weeks, that you're trying to shout at people to get into your funnel, but it's not you. It's a bunch of people trying to shout. And how do you differentiate yourself when it's just the fastest to spam somebody or the fastest to cold call somebody? And you're kind of playing roulette that way, when in reality, people aren't waiting to jump into your funnel. They're doing their own work, their research, they're talking to each other. So it falls, away from any kind of them noticing it at all. And then we talked about the trust gap as well, that there's this, you have to kind of fill that trust gap first before trying to pull them into your funnel, because it's a different perception. It's a different leverage points, different looks at somebody when they're an expert in something. And you have to fill that trust gap a bit as well. And we talked about how you're doing that is on marketing, is about community, is about, not gatekeeping your content and your knowledge, but putting it out there, positioning. And that's sharing other people's content as well, that you are confident enough in your abilities that you don't have to pretend you're the only person with abilities. When it comes to email, one of the problems is my world, and how I got known in this iteration of my speaking life. I've had a couple. But when it comes to the disruption and the unmarketing guy, and really I got known because of social media. Twitter was the diving board for me in 2010, 2009. That's how I got the book deal. That's how I did the book tour, the 30 city on book tour. Maybe we'll talk about that. We can talk about that eventually. And I'm always happy if you guys want to put topics you're interested in the chat as well, that we can kind of focus on and do for these lives. But with social, there's an issue, because what happened is you felt this momentum in an industry that was kind of from out of nowhere. Those of us have been doing it for a long time, but it's like this whole new world of social media managers and that type of thing, where it's like, put all your focus on that. And I said then, and I say it now, that's a mistake. That's a mistake, because we look at the way funnels work. It's a very basic concept, and the social media funnel isn't a funnel. It's a sieve. Okay, it's a sieve on top of your funnel. Okay, I guess this is more of a colander, I guess. And thank you. So this is a LinkedIn user saying, "Come to the UK, please." And then I guess the name is Gabrielle, because it's. I'm sorry, I can't see the LinkedIn stuff right now for where if it's not allowed, your name hasn't been given it. But we do love us some UK, so and some great people over there. One day, I'm just looking to go 3 towns over right now as my first long distance travel. We went to the town next to us last week to do like a kind of take some photos outdoors, just to kind of get out of the house, and it was a tropical vacation in Hamilton. I'm not sure that phrase has ever been used before, but it was. So this kind of sieve or colander, but it doesn't work as well with the wording, is we put people into that above our funnel, above our email, above whatever it is, and we focus. Now, I understand. We just talked about platforming 2 weeks ago, was focusing on platforms, where I gave you the example of I live on a platform for 6 months to 2 years, just focusing on it and building and learning and understanding and giving my social currency and really trying to be part of that. And when it comes to this side, we kind of go a different way with this, though, is we think, well, this is then our list. Your social media following literally is not a list. It's not a list. It's your follower count, it's your like count, but you have no ability to reach out and contact them. They are falling out of your sieve. Every message you put out there, every time you have a touch point out there, it goes out and it doesn't work because of all these reasons that have no control, because of the algorithm gods, because of you don't own the platform. Therefore, the platform will do whatever they want. And their only goal with the platform, as we said week after week after week, is keeping people in the platform. It doesn't matter if it's your stuff or not. And it was the great kind of Trojan horse that we talked about ad nauseum the whole time, which was if you're building your house on rented land, the rent will come due. And that's what happened with Facebook. Everybody pushed everybody to Facebook. All the brands said, let's build our house here. Then eventually Facebook said, great, you got that? Good. Now you have to pay. Now you have to pay. A funnel to me is when somebody is in your actual sales and marketing funnel. When they've stepped into it, it means I can reach out and contact them. Not based on an algorithm, not based on whether or not I use enough of the 438 different hashtags that are trending at the time. But if you have 1,000 followers on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or Facebook or whatever it is, you can't reach those people. You reach the people that the platform deems necessary to get the post out there. And they'll give it to 1% of them first to see if it's there, and then 2%. You have no control over this. It doesn't work. But with email, when you drop in, when you give me your email and there's a successful confirmation sign-up process and it all works and you've avoided spam filters, it's the only one out of social media and not. This is the one where the receiver of the message has to make a decision. In social media, it's a lot of serendipity based. They may see it, they may not. Or you can pay. And then we'll see if we can get it to them as well. And then they can just scroll past, but the website deems that successful. You got a view, you got reach, you got all those vanity metrics we talked about a few weeks ago. But with email, the receiver has to make a decision. They have to make a decision once they've opted in. And that's the 3 R's. They either read it right away and reply. Another R right there. Good one. They reserve it for later, which means this is not urgent. I'll look at this later. And if you want to see my unread folder on my inbox, you'll know that there's a few thousand in there of newsletters and stuff I think I'll get to later, and I never will. Or it's run, unsubscribe, report spam, tag it so you never see it again. At least there has to be a decision. With Twitter and everything else, obviously they don't work that way. That's not how social media platforms work. But the mistake here is saying that social media is the new list. And we heard this, right? And every few years, and those of us who have been around for a while doing this, you hear every few years, email marketing is dead or blogging is dead or what. Nothing is dead. Nothing. People are still going to MySpace. Address direct mail kills if it's good. Billboards, incredible. Radio advertising, awesome if you do it right. And when somebody says to you that this is dead, this is what the solution is, they're usually vested in the solution. Their company does it, they have a service that does it, whatever it is, and they use either on purpose or this they're being trained, they use scare tactics. Can I say for the 400th time, you don't have to use any social media? Mind you, you probably wouldn't be watching this right now if you didn't. But you don't have to. You don't have to. Abisek says, I think it should be the 4 R's report. Yeah. I really should change from run to report instead, actually. But yeah, that is very true. From a LinkedIn user, I find it astonishing that people will not let you know when they are not interested. Just a simple not interested response. They would rather ignore the email. Well, yeah, I get it, but you're putting the onus on the receiver of the message that you. This is why I titled the talk in the live stream post. I put an entitlement in it, because if you send me an email, you're not entitled to anything. That's the end of the point. I don't mean you're my boss or something. Well, then you are entitled to it, or family or customer. I mean emailing somebody, trying to convert them, trying to add them to something. You're owed nothing. You're owed nothing. And I'll get into it more a little near the end of this. But I have a couple of screenshots of stuff. Okay, but you're not owed anything. The onus of manners is on the sender. And by the way, I'm not saying, and I apologize, it says LinkedIn user, so I'm not sure who. And I'm sure this is not the angle you were going with it. But one of the things when you reply not interested to a semi-spam email or message shows that you're active and you read it. And some people in the sales industry take that as active and a chance to keep going. I understand. I want everybody to be more kind, including myself. But a lot of people who spam, a lot of people do cold messages. It's not about kindness. It's about hitting their number for that quarter. And it's not about me. Joy, thank you for the backup on that, or on the previous statement. So what about the weird hyper-excited language that these emails have? It feels unhuman, very much so. And I saw what you did there with the un. I called ignored emails silent unsubscribes. Yeah, very true. Yeah, and exactly. If you just because you're asking for somebody's attention doesn't mean they have to give it to you. Exactly. Dean says, Pet Finder sent me an email acknowledging they hadn't heard from me in a while and invited me to unsubscribe with one click. I was stunned. Yeah, that was one of the things, and it's one of the things that I want to work on that we'll add to the slide deck is those breakup messages that we get. You know, it's like, you haven't opened in a while. If you don't open, assume we're going to remove you. Like, especially when I saw it go down, like this is a few years ago, and I went into my spam folder just because, I don't know, I'm sadistic and I need to see it sometimes. And I went in, I saw a chain of things from a brand. It was like, we're going to remove you. No, seriously, we're going to remove you. And like they were having this one-sided breakup. I felt like I was in Wayne's World. I'm like, we broke up 3 months ago. Get the net. I don't even own a gun, let alone enough guns to necessitate an entire rack. Wayne's World. Classic. Jennifer says, good to see you on here, Jennifer. What do you think about the future of email with Gen Z? My older teenagers, young adults rarely open emails. I mean, I want to believe as they find themselves working, they will learn how to figure it out, what to open, but I'm not so sure. It's exactly that, Jennifer. So you're looking at one of the things that is useful about generational type of stuff, and I rip on it so much because it's a lot of ageism, both ways, young and old. And it's about, it doesn't matter what a younger generation is using right now, especially if they're in their teens. They're in peer communication. So when they're in peer communication, when that is the part of where they are in their life span, when you're not doing, it's not a business side of stuff, and you're with friends, friend communication is totally different. Totally different. But corporations still run off email. Yeah, there's Slack. Of course, there's Slack, there's chat, there's all these type of things. But I don't see email going anywhere at all. And any of those younger generations, when they if they get hired to join a company and they're like, this is your email address, and you're like, oh, it's okay, that's not me. Then you don't have the job. It's still the best business communication formally when it comes to a lot of things, especially externally, right? You're not a lot of times going to have a Slack channel where that's going to have all your customers, or you could, but email is that default digital. You don't want to get rid of it. Okay, it's one of the reasons why we still have a phone number. If you call 1-888-580-9969, that's our 800 number for the company, because people still call it. Okay, when it comes to communication methodologies, the only communication methodology that matters is your target audience and what they prefer. So if they prefer to have a phone number, then I would look up a virtual phone number, whether it's the Google Voice or we use a thing called Call 8. And it routes it, and you can route it to whatever phone you want. But it doesn't matter what you prefer necessarily if you're trying to get customers into your funnel. What do they use? And email is one of the only ones that has that. They have to make a decision on these type of things. Hey, Tom. Oh, it's good to see you, Tom. Thanks for pointing out that part about generations and peer communication versus work communication. Exactly. That's the difference. And so looking at a generation of what they're doing, they're less on Facebook, less using email, and people are like, well, they don't use their college or university email. And neither did I. And that was in 98, 97, 96. But when it comes to these type of things, people start moving along to certain stuff when it comes to a sign up. And Daniel says there'll always be a place for asymmetrical communication. Very true. Mark says there's not an online business platform where you can sign up without an email address. Email isn't going anywhere. Well, exactly. And I regretfully used a lot of my signups with Facebook login, and now I left Facebook. So I screws a lot of things up. But that's still email. Even doing that is still using email because you have an email base through Facebook. So Abhishek says, does that mean if I don't like phone calls, I prefer text? Do businesses have to reach me through text and not annoy me with random calls? Well, that is the goal. That is the goal. And I'll give you an example here. Our previous dentist, I don't like the phone. I don't like phoning businesses or providers. I don't like using the phone. I don't know. I'm working on it. I'll figure it out why. But I just got burnt out on the phone a long time ago, and I just don't like calling. It's not my thing. Now, if you're my client or potential client, then great, we'll hop on the phone. But I don't want to do it myself as a customer. And I will literally look to more businesses that allow me to automate type of stuff and go through there. I actually don't want to talk to anybody most of the time. So with a dentist, I realized I needed a cleaning because it had been 46 years since I had one. And I sent them an email because it was 2015. And that was okay. And it was listed on their site. So I'm going to email them. And at the time I'm on the road. So, I'm flying everywhere. I'm doing this. So I have to find those windows. But when I was home, I'm not going to a workplace. So I said, I'd like to book a cleaning. I can do next week, anytime. I don't have a job. So when I'm back, and I hopped on a plane and went to Miami for a gig. I landed and they had replied to the email. And it said, hey, Scott, for sure, just give us a call and we'll get that appointment booked in for you. Match your response in the method that your customer, client, or target audience, or even community, reaches out in. If you're a realtor and I text or reply to an email, don't phone me. Reply back in the method I replied to you. And look, I understand phone calls. I get it. It's a lot of times it's easier to sort stuff out on the phone or a phone call, but then pitch that in the medium of my preference. If you are truly client or customer centered, then your communication must be. And we don't have that a lot of the time. It doesn't work. There's still places that make you fax. Fax. I don't even know what to do. There's no joke there. It's just, I'm stunned. Match the preference of communication with your client. And so you can pitch it though. If it's text or email and it's just going to go back and forth for a week and you could solve it in a 10-minute call, say that in an email. Hey, Scott, great question. This is kind of a subjective answer, but depending on your answer, this might be easier over a quick phone call. Would that work for you? If not, I will, no problem, reply in an email and we can work this out. Being customer-centric isn't a brand statement. It's not one of your things. It's an action. It's what you do. So if you do say you're customer-focused, then your things should be customer-focused. Especially, primarily, your communications with them. All right. You have me going. You have me going, everybody. You got me flying off the handle already. I got a physical copy of the Yellow Pages in the mail a few weeks back. I keep it as a memento, but it's dead, right? Yeah. Yeah. A1 plumbing. Mm-hmm. Sandra says, I have clients in Ontario Cottage Country, lots of old tech. Well, that's it. Phone number, email, web contact form, whatever it is. I don't mean you have to have 14 ways of contacting, because What's worse with not having a way to contact you other than a phone call is you not monitoring it. But there are ways to do it better that, look, the majority of my audience wants to do either phone or email. Okay, then, at least that. What if it's texting, though? How does it work? I love the companies that have that together that works under my preference. Thank you, Leanne. Everything. But this is everything. The worst thing you can do with a brand, a mission statement, your pillars, the 3 words like we have here, is directly contradict them in your actions. Because then you are actually being transparent and authentic that way by saying, we don't believe this. It sounds good. We paid a consulting company an obscene amount of money instead of paying our employees a fair wage. We pay them a lot of money to come up with these words. They resonate with our market. I don't care if they resonate first. Are they true? Do you believe them? Or are you saying customer centric, and what it is I want to hit my quota every quarter. And I think if we change these words, and look, anybody who's like that probably isn't watching this. I'm really good at preaching to the choir, but that's okay. You're my people, so I'm here for you. So one of the things that really shocks me, and this is not new, one of the things that really shocks me is that the welcome message. We've gotten to the point of the welcome message and that we just make it generic. It's automated. And people know you're signing up in an automated system. Usually it's a newsletter, you're subscribing, and you're not usually sitting there doing it by hand necessarily, although I used to do that a long time ago. But this is your first shot. When somebody signs up, when you've gone through the gauntlet of funnels and sieves and distractions, and finally somebody steps into your funnel and subscribes to your newsletter, your report, your white paper, your bonus, whatever it is. They've raised their hand and said, I appreciate you. I want more from you. And our response to that is, you've signed up for the ABC newsletter 1-523. Here's the information you already sent us. Name, email, boom, 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 boom. Warm and fuzzy, right? And then we asked for 7 different fields we didn't need. No. In the competitive environment we're in now, digitally, for people's attention, the battle for people's attention, the battle for a space in somebody's inbox. And they said, you know what? You get a place in my inbox. That's prime real estate, by the way. Prime. I'm going to give you a slot in my inbox. And your reaction as the brand to that is, you signed up for the newsletter. This email is confirming such. This is the information you sent us. Brand. Customer centric. That's it. Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard just to do something authentic to them, to say something? Let me show you. I'm going to give you an example here. And I'm going to give you the example, not because it's just ours, but I've been using it for 20 years. And rarely anybody ever does this. This one move, this one thing can change a lot of things for you. If you don't have anybody signing up for your newsletter right now, okay, you work on that. You work on getting people towards the site, towards the traffic, and plug the holes in the sieve. Let me show you. I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. And Daniel, exactly. Action is character. Sarah replied to Sandra. Sarah said, same here. We're in upper Wisconsin and Michigan, upper peninsula, and internet is not high speed everywhere. There are customers who don't have it, and cell reception is not consistent, in some cases non-existent in the upper peninsula of Michigan. Very rural, so definitely have to do some old school marketing. Exactly. You are not your target market. You have to understand how they want to communicate, how they want to get messages, how they want to have service done for them. That's how it should work. I remember talking to Eric Alper, who's a awesome human as well. Look him up. Tell him I say hey. Great music industry guy. Lives in Toronto. Just such a good dude. him and his wife Candace, and we were talking about forms of music. So we're talking about vinyl and CDs and MP3s and anything. And I made a joke because somebody had mentioned cassettes, and I'm like, who wants cassettes? And Eric used to be PR for E1 Music, and he said a couple of our artists that were skewed to an older audience, but one of our artists, their number one selling medium is cassettes. And he said a great line. He said, "I don't care how people consume our product. I just hope they consume it." Yeah. Look outside of your own preferences for these things. Same with social media. If you're going to use the site or not, does your audience use it? Does your market use it? That type of thing. So let me show you what we do with our stuff here. So this is, there's two different ways we do this. So we have a squeege. We have a squeege page. Oh, screw it. Let's do it live. My goodness. Why is my mic up so high? I'm so sorry if I was blowing anybody's ears out there. So this is our squeeze page. And a squeeze page is a basic thing. If you're not in that world of digital marketing, a squeeze page is very simple. There's only usually one action on it, which is just you squeeze the one action you want, or a landing page if you want to call it that. And this is pretty much a squeeze page we have here, which has subscribed to the newsletter. I'll pop it up for you here. Subscribe to the newsletter, business content centered around the pillars of integrity, community, and authenticity, served up with a half cup of humor. And if you need more convincing, we have a secondary page, and we go back and forth between those two. So it's not exactly a squeeze because it opens it up and more. But then here underneath that, our privacy statement, we respect your privacy, unsubscribe at any time. Also, we don't want to become our own case study and not living our values. So it's part of that authenticity. It's part of that personality and our voice. Now, it's easy for myself and for Allison potentially is that we, I've always had the voice of it is my voice. That's how I write. That's what I would say out loud. And so we do that. So since we use a lot of humor in things and sarcasm, then we want to keep that going. It gives you an idea of kind of what you're going to get. And that's really works with us when it comes to our authenticity. Remember, I'm going to say this to you every week I'm on here. When you are your authentic self, you have no competition. Okay, look, I even have it here. Look, there. I even put it in a fancy thing, but it's over my title now. I didn't even look at that. There you go. This, I believe it. I believe it. So this is our authenticity on this side of it. So this is the squeeze. But when somebody signs up, you get a message saying, thank you for submitting, check your inbox or whatever that is, because with confirmation and double opt-in, one of the problems is you get this abandonment where people opt in and they go away and they forget to confirm, or it's in their spam folder, whatever that is. It's a really big hurdle to jump sometimes. So the message that comes up here afterwards is success. Now check your email to confirm your subscription so we don't stay up at night with thoughts about commitment issues. I like it. This is the confirmation message that they have. You're making us blush. Thanks for signing up. Click here and it'll be on your way. Good to have you. I mean it. It's an honor. It's a privilege somebody wants to sign up for your stuff. It really is. It really is. This is on marketing.com. This is the footer of every page. Okay, so this is the footer of every page at Unmarketing. At the top, we use a plugin from a company called SparkLoop. And they have a couple great plugins there. We get access to SparkLoop included in our Convert Kit membership for the newsletter. So at the top, it confirms it. It's verified that we have over 16,000 subscribers. So it gives it some clout, some social proof. And then join the free newsletter. We did testing a long time ago about that. And sometimes the word free helps, but I just wanted to reiterate to people, it is free. I thought you didn't have to say that anymore until somebody replied and said, does this cost anything? This was like a year and a half ago. So why not? It's free. And then we keep the personality going with this. It says, join the free newsletter, case studies, videos, and articles in an ever-changing world of business about authenticity, integrity, and community. We only send it out when we have something relevant to say. And as soon as you sign up, you'll receive our advice on email frequency, and it may surprise you. I think it does still. You also got to read your stuff and make sure it's all working right. But again, then we have the privacy statement on the site, but it's a little bit different. We won't send you spam or sell you info. Unsubscribe at any time. However, we will gaze out a window wondering why someone would sign up and then not click a confirmation link in the email you're about to receive. Not you personally. We know you'll confirm your opt-in, but other people. It's fascinating. So that's our voice. That's the voice that we go with. You don't have to make every privacy statement unless you're doing it for the legal side of things and you have to go to your legal department and they're just like, well, I don't think it's a legal thing to do. And then just more legal. Listen to you. Yeah, fine. Listen to your legal department. But if you don't have one, you should probably talk to a lawyer anyways. But there's a disclosure thing underneath is supposed to make them more comfortable. And we believe this. But you can add your personality to it. And if you're not using humor, that's okay. Use your personality. You can still put in there, we appreciate you signing up more than you know. It's such a privilege, an honor. Like you can really do those things. You don't just have to do, we won't buy or sell your email address. Privacy is important to us. Everybody says that. If you can make it more authentic to you, then I would do that. LinkedIn user said, this is my first time attending your live sessions. Love your content, Scott. And I just subscribed to your newsletter. No commitment issues here. Yay! It's almost like I did this whole talk today to get people to sign up for the newsletter. I didn't. But you can go sign up. Go try it out. Go to either site and you'll see it. But one thing you'll notice, if you go to unmarketing.com, there's no real sieve. There is not one link on unmarketing.com that leads to any of our social media. Odd for the person that talks a lot about digital, right? I got no sieve going out. I have no way for them exiting the site. When it comes to, I want people to sign up for the newsletter. Mind you, we don't send it out very often. But that's the way that we can reach out to people. That's the way we can get. We don't email anybody about these LinkedIn lives. We're doing these for our LinkedIn people. This is an example of platforming. Like all these I do, by the way. Here's the thing. Everything I do every week on this is unmarketing. I'm unmarketing to you right now, which is giving content. It's helping me work through the content for the Unmarketing Academy. It's hopefully helping you somewhat. Or it's a distraction for your lunch or breakfast or dinner or late night snack. What's up, Absec? And this is me showing you what we've got. So when we do launch the Academy, some of you might be interested in the full thing. Some of you look for speakers for your conferences in person down the road. Some of you look for virtual help. That's what I'm doing unmarketing in real time. I'm not pretending that. I'm not saying otherwise. This is what I'm doing. And so it works. True, Dean. Very true. I just called Facebook a sieve. That's the kindest thing I've called Facebook this week, by the way. They're lucky it's the only thing I call them. Also, I'm not on Facebook. I will do a whole live on that, how I left Facebook. But anyway, not today. Not today. So I have no kind of leading out of the site. Now we do have new open windows if you go click and you want to buy the book somewhere on any other, a book selling site necessarily. But it's never, once I get you to my site, that's one of the hardest things to do in today's age. And as soon as I get there, you're going to give me a reason to leave. You come to unmarketing.com. Our front page says, look, this is what we stand for. We hope this is what you stand for. And if it is, you're in the right place. And if not, okay, you can go. And then we give content. And if you like content, you want more content, you sign up for the newsletter, the unnewsletter. But we're not letting you get off on the site and go somewhere else. Now, when it comes to social, I cross promote social. I've said on Twitter a couple times about these LinkedIn lives, and you can do those type of things. Yeah, for sure. That's social. I can do those things. But when I finally got through all those things to get you my site, don't give them a reason to leave. It's not a great thing. David says, Scott, thanks for making this available on YouTube because LinkedIn video is horrible. David, you're going to get me in trouble. I'm on LinkedIn Live doing this. But yes, I agree. It's one of the things about LinkedIn Live, it's with the commenting and it goes on the screen. I can't catch, especially on my phone. I find it very frustrating. Less so on a desktop. But yeah, I agree. So I'm glad you like it. Is on YouTube for those that rather watch on there. But yeah, and you're very welcome. I'm glad you are enjoying it on there. Let's keep on going. Okay, so this is the key though, okay? Sorry, I was talking about the one thing. Again, focus. I'm trying to focus. We're trying to work out the content. This is the one thing. This is the one thing I've been doing for 20 years on various newsletters I've had. Okay? And this goes to the welcome mat again. So I'm going to show you this again. Where'd it go? Where'd the welcome mat go? There it is. So when they sign up, when they say, hey, you're good stuff, give me more of that good stuff. And your response is, you subscribed. Don't. Give them a high five. Let me show you. Give you an example. This is the welcome message you get. And if you sign up at onmarketing.com or on newsletter.com, this is what you'll get. The subject line says, thanks for subscribing. May we ask you a question, which drives curiosity. The first part is this. It's almost been identical for 20 years. It always feels like a victory when you get through the email gauntlet of spam filters, attention spans, and confirmations. We really appreciate a spot in your inbox. We know how overwhelming it can get in there, and we promise to only send out the newsletter when it would be relevant to you. That's appreciation, right? I'm thanking you because it's a big deal. Now we ask a question. May we ask what industry you're in? We love seeing what our subscribers do, and it helps us keep our radar finely tuned towards the things you may like. Sincerely, Scott and Allison Stratton on Marketing Inc. And then we have a PS, but it's authentic. PS, stats say people read the PS part. That led to marketers filling it with irrelevant info, and now they're less effective. We have yet to find something that us marketers can't ruin. That's the first message you get from me. And it's sent, although by a ConvertKit, it's sent from my personal email address. So when you reply, I get it. If you reply right now, I'll get it. If you reply to the message, I get it to my phone. And then I get one of two reactions to it. It's funny. So I don't get 100 replies a week. I sometimes don't even get a reply a day, but I get it weekly, depending on what I'm doing and building people in there. And there's three types of responses. One is simply they just say what they do. It'll just say like real estate. The second one is like they'll actually bring it in and they'll talk about how they found it, or they saw me speak, or they read a book. And the third one is usually they preface it by saying, I know this is automated, but I figured I'd reply anyways. And if they do that part, I'll reply with something like, automated is the nicest thing I've been called this week. Thank you. And they reply back and like, oh, you're actually reading these things. And the surprise they get with that. But here's the thing. I start that relationship with them that way. I've replied to hundreds of these in the past few years. And it's fascinating. Here's the thing. I actually want to know. Do not ask a question. Do not ask an open-ended question or anything if you don't care about the answer. Do not do engagement for engagement's sake, please. I want to know what our subscribers do. I find it fascinating. For the 10 years and from 2010 to 2020, going and speaking at 60 events a year, keynoting them, I loved walking trade shows. I love seeing behind the scenes of industries. I love so many industries. I love seeing that stuff. It's amazing to me. And when somebody replies, hey, this is what I do, I get to write back and say, that's cool. If it is. Or they did two different things. They had two different businesses and it was a crazy, weird combination. I'm like, that's the most unique combination I think I've ever seen. And we had a conversation for a couple of emails. And if you're too busy, if you're too overwhelmed with things, you don't have to reply. Because in the welcome part, you didn't say, I will reply to you. So you have a fail-safe in there, but it's always nice to reply. Whenever somebody said something, they're kind of hoping for something. Don't leave them on read, as the kids would say. But I've gotten everything from the digital director of the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, to one of the biggest sports agents out there, to people all across the world that said, hey, I'm here right now and I do this. And I'm just like, that's so cool. And if I can relate to it somehow, I put that in. So if somebody says, I'm actually in the Yukon, I'll say, I was there a year and a half ago. It was so cool. And we connect. And that's it. They don't usually last too long. But isn't that cool? Don't you want to know a little bit? And you don't have to ask them industry. You can use that one, but make it topical, make it authentic to what you do. And that's the thing. And Mark, exactly. So Mark, if you want to hear at the start of it, Mark's been doing email marketing for quite some time as well. And it's rare to get a direct personalized response from a brand by email. It's somewhat shocking. Keep it up. Yeah. And especially, here's the thing. If you're a personal brand, if you're the individual, you're the authority, the expert or something, and they're coming to you, especially the personal touch means so much. And if you're a big brand, it's unheard of. But if you're the brand, if personal branding, if you're the business, then it is the best opportunity to do that. And then when you do send out an edition of your newsletter, we've already talked. Not everybody replies to it. Most people don't reply to it. But when they do, I want to reply back. I don't always. I slip sometimes. And Dean, I did drink the till. If you don't know what that is, just look up sour toe cocktail, Yukon. Just put sour toe cocktail. You don't even have to. 1 second. I don't have many cards in my wallet. But I do have my Captain Dick's World Famous Sour Toe Cocktail Club membership card. Still. May 7th, 2011. You drink a straw of whiskey with a petrified toe, human toe. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's worse. But as they say, when in Yukon, you got to do it. So this is the setup, okay? This is the way it would work. So it's all like a waterfall, right? None of the body matters if you can't get them to open it. And if it looks like a generic welcome news thing, they're not going to open it. So if it said, thanks for subscribing to the Unmarketing newsletter, I have no reason to open it necessarily, unless they were waiting for a promised item or deliverable, whether it's a report or anything else, or a video or whatever they said they were going to get to unlock it. And that's true. This is not a misleading subject line. We'll get to those in a second. This is true. So it leads to that. But in it, you can't have like 3,000 characters about yourself and pitching all these type of things. At the very end, ask some lame question. Curiosity, appreciation, question, PS. That's how I structure it. It's how I've structured it for almost 20 years. People are still shocked when I reply. It's so basic. And again, you don't have to ask industry. If your business or your audience and your marketplace is a regional one, so let's say it's going to be like the peninsula in Upper Michigan and Wisconsin, and that's your area, then I would make the question about that. How long have you been in the area? It's always interesting to see how far back people go. And if you're not, how often do you visit? But that sounds a little more commercial-like. Make it personal with them. Make it personal. And you have a good shot with this. All those things are in line with our pillars. Authenticity, integrity, community. This sets the tone for all of that. That first email is setting the tone. It's the welcome email. It's the first one. It's the biggest first impression you can make in the email side of things. This is where they will decide somewhat whether they're going to read it in the future as it comes in, whether they're going to reserve it and put it, or where they're going to run away. Now, I do hope people are going to sign up, and then I can reply to all you today. But that's so basic and rarely, if ever, done. I've been preaching and screaming this for so long. It's okay. The less people do it, the more unique it is for us. But do it. If your thing's about sports, then you put a sports thing in there. If I ran a thing and it had to do with sports, I would say, well, who do you think the best quarterback is, or the best goalie, or the best striker, or the best bowler or the best, whatever it is. Make it make sense. And since our audience is broad, we asked a broad question when it comes to, it's specific, but it can apply to anybody. And we said industry. You don't want to get too personal. Like, what do you do? Ooh, that's a lot. You haven't earned the trust so much yet. The trust gap is shrinking, but the email and the newsletter helps shrink it more. So don't over ask here. If you're an insurance or financial planner or anything like that, and they ask and you write back, what is your net worth? Just don't jump the queue. Just baby steps, but appreciate it. And appreciation doesn't mean just saying thank you. Don't make it cut and paste, although it is automated. Make it authentic. Make it real. What opting in is not to your newsletter. No one has opted into your newsletter because they met you at an event, gave you my card at one or anywhere else. We connected on LinkedIn is not opting into your newsletter. Also, I want to repeat number 3. Stop. Opt in means opt in, not opt out. Not negative opt out, not the way that scams work. Permission-based marketing means permission is given, not assumed. I'm not opting in because you think I might like it, so you add me, nor is it because you think I can just unsubscribe. Nope. It's permission-based. Get permission. Don't. And I asked somebody this once. They're like, no, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, you're interested in my business, therefore you're interested in my newsletter. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. No. That does not mean that at all. And I said, why don't you ask people instead of just adding them? And he said, and I quote, when I asked people, they wouldn't reply. So it was easier to add them, and they can just unsubscribe. Holy crap cakes in Kathmandu. Have a sec. I hope you don't have crap cakes there. No. No. It's not permission. I haven't given permission. People are like, yeah, and the Can Spam Act and the EU's doing this. California did this. I tell you every week, and I'll keep saying it. We cannot use the law to guide us on what's ethical. Just get permission. That's all. And if you don't, what would it be like if everybody did what you do? Honestly. If you're of that state of mind that what's the problem? It's not hard. Why don't you reply? It's just easy to say not interested, or it's easy to click unsubscribe. If everybody on LinkedIn took all their connections and added everybody to their own newsletter. Ugh. Ugh. I'm going to be sick. And now imagine the person telling me I should just unsubscribe. You should get signed up for 1,000 newsletters that you didn't ask for. I think that's the rough number when you're keeping count, about 1,000 of them over since I've been on LinkedIn for a long time, like 17 years. I've over 1,000 newsletters I was unopted into. Oh, that's good. I like that term, unopted in. That works for me. Okay, so what about the best time to send? When would you send a newsletter? And the answer is 12. Okay. Next point. The reason I say this is because it's sometimes, well, it's ludicrous. And I'm talking Dirty South Atlanta ludicrous. I mean, I just like, oof. I was going to say a couple of his lines and lyrics right now. I'll let it go. I won't say it, but what's up, Luda? We look at this headline data sometimes and we say, Well, then that's my problem. My problem with my newsletter is I was sending it at the wrong time of day. Now there's a legit thing here of time of day, you know, most opens, click-throughs and all that, and that data, of course. But the problem is we falsely think sometimes that's a problem. If you send out a newsletter and the newsletter subject line is Canadian chiropractic update and meeting minutes, it's not enticing. If you send out saying it's the April financial news update, it's not too exciting. So if you don't get that part of it, you're not even going to have the right metrics down the line. The time of day is the least of your worries at that point because nobody's opening it anyways. If you sent Canadian chiropractic update at noon instead of 4 p.m., I want to fix the bigger problem first. This is the data that matters. Because when you see data from other companies, the best time to send is 3 p.m. or do this, or East Coast, West Coast, overseas, this. I want to know your own data. Look at it. Test it. If you have 500 subscribers, you have 1,000 subscribers, look at it. Do the timing different, then look at your own data. But I promise you time of day isn't your main issue usually. It usually isn't. If you know your crap, if you know your stuff, then you get down to this stuff, sure. But you're diving way too deep first. Subject line, who's it from? And you get stuff from us, it's from me, my name, and on marketing. And context. Did they have a welcome email? Did they respond to it? Have they been nurtured at all? What are you doing? And then also, most importantly, send what you're going to send. Meaning, send what you said you're going to send. Give them the content they asked for. And I don't mean 2 sentences of content and then 45 sentences of promotion, unless that's what they signed up for. If I signed up for product updates and stuff like that, okay. But if you said you're going to give me the newsletter and give me all the things about this, this, and this, and you never do, and it's only self-serving, it's not a newsletter, it's just an ad. It's a flyer. And newsletters have a great ability to be so much more. So let's look at how to, increasing opens, not even 10x or 100x, 1,000x. And what we do, and one of the biggest ethical things that really gets under my skin is this move. And Ross brought it up, and this was like 2 days ago on LinkedIn. I saw it. I'm like, it's too perfect. I got to bring it in. And he says, good morning to everyone except the people who start their emails with forward or read just to trick you into opening their sales pitch. Yeah. You know how this really started was somebody did it once. And they're like, oh my God, if we just open, we got so much better open rates. And they put it out there and they put it in courses and things and said, just do a read because it looks like you're replying. You sure? You sure that's how you want to start off our relationship? And this isn't about newsletter. This is just about spamming people, trying to get a sales appointment or something. Or the pretend conversation before it. The people add. You are lying. You are not replying. You're lying. Stop it. If you're unethical to get me to open an email, imagine what it would be like if I bought from you. It's called revelation of character. It's actually a thing in Canadian employment law. It's one of the reasons why you have just cause dismissal. You can fire somebody without notice or severance. And one of the reasons for just cause is what's called revelation of character, which is the thing you did may not be the worst thing in the world, but it shows that you don't care about this or you're not trustworthy. It's a revelation of character is a big thing, especially in bonded industries and financial industries. This is revelation of character. Thank you, Ross, for putting it so well and making me laugh when I saw it. And then Jonathan Torrens replies with it too. How about the ones that end a lengthy email with thoughts? Yeah, Exactly. Exactly. You don't want my thoughts. You just want my money. Okay. That's how that stuff goes for me. Here's one I got literally an hour before coming live today. Scott, is there somebody else I should be reaching out to when it comes to improving customer support, offering better customer experience and revenue growth? I feel bad for cluttering your inbox if this isn't a current focus for your company, so please let me know either way. Here to help, not haunt. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that killer ending to it. Stop. Stop lying. Lies. You don't feel bad cluttering my inbox. You couldn't give a rat's ass cluttering my inbox. All you want is the client. All you want is the sale. It's like when people say, I'm interested in connecting with you on LinkedIn. I'm interested in learning more about your business. Stop it. You are not. You're interested in me giving you business. Integrity is not a renewable resource. And yet some people fall for this stuff. And they wonder why, when they actually get their deliverables, they're not what they were promised. If you're willing to lie and these type of things, what happens if there's a thing on the sale that makes or breaks it and that helps their quota? And they're saying, can you do this though? Can this function work? And they're like, yes, sign the dotted line. And it doesn't. Sales and marketing does not have to be unethical. It doesn't. We choose to make it unethical. It's a choice. There's no such thing as companies or brands making these decisions. It's people. And it's a cop-out when we say, oh, it's a brand thing. It's a person thing. We decide that lightly deceiving our customers is okay for the sale. Why would I give your information to somebody else? I'm going to pass this along to somebody else? Maybe if I don't like them, sure. Stop it. Please, stop it. This is Jason says here, the ones who don't ask don't want to hear no so they can feel good about their numbers. Exactly. I know why they don't ask. Exactly that. Because they know there are people who are going to say no. Matt says, everything discussed today also applies to LinkedIn messages. I don't like when someone reaches out to connect, and once we do, send me a copy and paste the message about all about their business. Exactly. Exactly. I'm not here for this. Leanne backs you up on that as well. And then Brian, hey, good to see you. Glad you joined us again. Integrity and character first. Well, that's it. If you want. But a lot of brands aren't about that. They're about numbers. That's it. I mean, it doesn't at all costs. The unending pursuit of profit above everything haunts me. You can have a profitable company. You can have a very profitable company and still be ethical. You can have a great business, a long-standing business, by still being honest. You can still be authentic with it. You can find customers and clients that make it a joy to work with them. Use tactics, use strategies that resonate with you, that are you, that use those strengths. Otherwise, we're just the same as everybody else. You know what's worse than somebody spamming somebody? The person copying the person spamming somebody. So you're not even a good spammer. Dean says, bad practices often stem from illogical performance measurement. People will do what gets them rewarded. Bingo. Bingo, Dean. And Dean, is always wonderful to see you on here. Dean, longtime supporter of all things on. And that's it. And we do it. And I don't even blame the salespeople most of the time. I blame their managers, the company, the trainer. This is how you do it. Are you telling me the only way to generate leads in 2021 is to spam people? It's an honest question. Are you telling me with all the tools we have, all the connectivity we can have, and all the reach we can have, and the incredible things we can do, the best sales strategy is to annoy the crap out of somebody? Is to do a shotgun approach? Life is not buy or goodbye. Certainly doesn't have to be. And more companies are realizing this. But if you think the only way to sell is to interrupt, it's hilarious. Look how much I'm laughing. If people do business with people they know, like, and trust, how's that helping? Can you get sales doing that? Spamming? Yeah, you can get sales anyway. I could beat you down with a shoe. And one of you is going to buy from me just to stop me from beating you with a shoe. Doesn't make it right. And I love Petrus, our realtor story, was a cold call. But he didn't call me and offer services. He got my attention by giving. Well, giving me donuts. But by giving. And if your only way of sales is lying at the start to get me to start talking to you, it's unethical. I don't want that around my company. Abasek says, quick question. What's your point on people who keep pointing out your mistakes to sell their services? Well, that's a tactic. I guess. It amazes me. And I'm sure you get this, Abasek. I'm sure you get that over in what you do. When I was going through your LinkedIn profile and your role, you probably get people hitting you up, both because of brand and because of title. And it's funny because people will say, hey, I noticed this, or this. You're kind of crap at what you do. How about this? Except the designer that we used for a decade, Chris Farias, in Hamilton. Like Hamilton comes on back in again. His first message to me on Twitter was, I love your stuff, Scott, and your website sucks. I think he's even more descriptive words for it. And he said, can I redo it for free? Please? And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm your Huckleberry. Let's do it. It was good. It was pretty courageous. I like that. But the sales pitch of like this or this, it's like somebody DMing you or sending you a message saying, hey, you ready to sign up for a weight loss program? You're like, get out of here. What are you saying? And then some people will say, like that message here. Here's the thing. Look how it's worded. There's somebody else I could reach out to when it comes to improving customer support, offering better customer experience, and revenue growth. They use these things, so in theory, you can't say no, right? If this isn't a current focus for your company, right? They use those things. And if you do reply no thank you, and they'll say, you don't want more revenue or happier customers? Or they'll go passive aggressive. Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought you were wanting more revenue. Stop it. Stop with the games. Stop with the lies. Share your content. Show your worth. Show your knowledge. Connect. Help. Provide great service. And you'll have business for a very long time with much less churn and much more satisfied clients and customers. Ooh, that's enough for today. I never explained why I didn't have all the slides or all the stuff down, although I made 40 slides in an hour today. But sometimes you just got to take it easy. Sometimes you got to be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. So how about you remember to do that if you can? Be kind to each other. Don't forget, happy birthday to our oldest, to Aiden. Turns 24 today on the 24th. Known as a champagne birthday, apparently. Didn't know that. I'm old. If you want to make his day, say hey to him on LinkedIn. Or on YouTube. He's also got a YouTube channel. Young man with a bright future ahead of him. Looking to get his start in the music industry here. And making music and sounds for everybody else. Thank you all for being here, as usual. Thank you to the usuals. Thank you to the noobs. Thank you to everybody for watching. Hope you got some value out of this. And at the end of the day, if you believe business is built on relationships, make building them your business. Next Wednesday, let's do this. I don't know the topic yet. We'll figure it out. Or add comments in here if you're still here and do it. Take care, everybody.